Let me tell you something I learned a long time ago. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. Now think about that. Success isn't something you chase down like a dog after a car. It's not something you hope for or wait for. It comes to you when you change you. Now here's the problem. Most people are doing too much of the wrong thing and too little of the right thing. They're busy, but they're not effective. They're moving, but they're not progressing. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. But what if I told you there's one habit, just one simple discipline, that, if practiced daily, can 10x your results instantly? No gimmicks, no secrets, no fluff, just a powerful principle that works. You don't need to add 20 things to your schedule. You don't need more hours in the day. You need this one habit. Because it's not more effort you need, it's more clarity. It's not more hustle you need, it's more wisdom. And that's what this habit gives you. So sit back, slow down, and lean in. Because what I'm about to share with you could change the way you live, work, and win forever. Let me begin with a principle I've carried with me for over 40 years. Don't just let the day go by, get from it. You see, most people go through the day. Very few grow through the day. They wake up, run the routine, survive the hours, and go to bed no better than when they woke up. Now let me tell you, that used to be me. Busy, active, always doing something. But when I stopped to ask myself, am I getting better? The answer was quiet, too quiet, because I wasn't reflecting. And that was the turning point. The habit that changed everything was reflection. Not buying a new planner. Not downloading a new productivity app. Just stopping for 10 minutes at the end of the day to think. Now you might say, Jim, that sounds simple. It is. You might say, Jim, that sounds small. It is. But hear me now, simple things done consistently lead to massive change. Let me give you my routine. At the end of each day, I sit with a notebook, not a fancy one, just a place to write, and I ask 3 questions. 1, what went well today? 2, what didn't go so well? 3, what can I do better tomorrow? That's it, no magic. Just honesty. And over time, you begin to see something beautiful happen. You stop repeating the same mistakes. You start recognizing your own patterns. You become your own coach. And that, my friend, is power. A life worth living is a life worth recording. And now, let me tell you what happens when you make this a habit. You become more intentional. You become more aware. You begin to live on purpose instead of on accident. Because here's the truth. Life is happening every day. But are you learning from it? Every experience, every conversation, every success, every failure, they all have something to teach you. But if you don't stop, pause, reflect, you'll miss the lesson. And let me tell you, life has a funny way of repeating the lesson until you finally learn it. That's why reflection is so powerful. It turns experience into insight, and insight is the seed of wisdom. Without reflection, you might live the same year 10 times and call it a life. With reflection, you can learn more in 1 year than most people do in a decade. You'll begin to anticipate, to strategize, to grow. And you'll start making decisions not based on emotion, but based on understanding. I call that real maturity. You see, reflection isn't just a habit. It's a tool for personal transformation. Now let me tell you a story. Early in my career, I was broke. Broke financially and broke mentally. I was blaming everything outside of me for what was happening inside of me. Then I met a mentor. He said, Jim, if you'll change, everything will change for you. I said, but how do I change? He said, start by reviewing your day. Write down what you learned. Write down what you missed. That's where it began. Not with a seminar, not with a course, with a pen, a page, and a little quiet time. Now here's the best part. You don't need more time to do this. You just need to use a little bit of time differently. Cut 10 minutes off your TV time. Cut 10 minutes from scrolling through nothing. Use that time to invest in you. And if you do that day after day, You won't recognize yourself in a few months. You'll be wiser, sharper, more composed. Your decision-making will change. Your energy will change. Your results will change. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Reflection is one of those disciplines. So let me challenge you tonight. Before bed, sit down. Write down what you learned today. Just one thing. And if you keep doing that, it'll be the start of something big. It changed my life. It can change yours too. Now, I know what some people are thinking. Jim, how can something as simple as reflection instantly multiply my results? That's a fair question. But here's what I've learned. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. And most people, they choose the easy not to do. But let me explain why this one habit, this one small discipline of reflection, creates such an immediate shift in results. It's because reflection changes the way you see. And once your vision changes, your actions follow. You see, most people are walking through life like it's a dark room, bumping into furniture, tripping over habits, frustrated, tired, confused, and instead of pausing, they just keep moving faster, running harder, pushing more. But what if, instead of running faster in the dark, you simply turned on the light? That's what reflection does. It turns on the light. Suddenly, you can see what's working. You can see what's not. You can see where your time is going. You can see where your energy is being wasted. Now that kind of clarity, that's priceless. Because once you see clearly, you can adjust quickly. That's the multiplier effect. Don't major in minor things. How do you know if you are? You reflect. You ask, did today move me closer to my goals? Or did I just stay busy? That single moment of awareness, that one shift, can save you months, even years of wandering. Let me tell you something I've told thousands of people on stage. Clarity is power. And reflection is the habit that gives you clarity. You start to realize that not every hour is equal. Not every activity has the same return. Not every conversation is worth your emotional investment. And with that realization comes a new discipline. You start investing your energy, not just spending it. Now here's where the magic happens. When you reflect consistently, you start compounding your learning. One lesson today, another tomorrow. Pretty soon, you're not making the same mistakes twice. You're not forgetting the same lessons over and over. You begin to multiply your wisdom. And with more wisdom comes better decisions. Better decisions lead to better actions. Better actions create better results. That's how one small habit multiplies your outcomes. You might say, Jim, that sounds too good to be true. Let me assure you, it's not magic. It's math. Success is a numbers game. And every day you reflect, you're shortening the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Now let me give you a picture. Imagine someone building a house. Day after day, they're laying bricks, working hard, staying busy. But what if they never paused to look at the blueprint? They might be building fast, but in the wrong direction. That's how most people live. Lots of effort, no direction. Reflection is when you pause, look at the blueprint of your life, and ask, am I building what I actually want? And here's what happens when you do that regularly. You stop wasting time. You stop drifting. You stop running in circles. You get focused. You get intentional. You get results fast. You cannot make progress without direction. And the habit of reflection gives you direction. You know what most people do when life gets busy? They stop reflecting. They say, I'll do it when things slow down. But here's the truth. When life gets busy, that's when you need it the most. That's when you need to stop for 5 or 10 minutes and ask, what did I miss today? What can I do better tomorrow? What am I ignoring that needs my attention? Because those questions, those small reflections, are what turn busy people into productive people. They turn overwhelmed people into focused achievers. And the best part, you can start tonight. No need for a new journal. No need for perfect grammar. Just grab a pen, sit quietly, and think. And if you do this daily, you'll multiply your clarity. Multiply your focus, multiply your results, not someday, not next year, instantly. Because once your mind sees the path clearly, your feet follow it quickly. So don't wait for a better day, start tonight. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals. And reflection, my friend, is one of those fundamentals. Make it yours. Let me tell you something I've discovered over the years. The things that make the biggest difference often go unnoticed by the crowd. They're not loud. They don't come with fireworks. They don't trend on social media, but they work. Now we've been talking about this habit, the habit of reflection, stopping, thinking, reviewing your day. And here's what most people miss. They think the value of reflection is just in remembering what happened. But that's not it. The real advantage, the hidden advantage, is awareness. Awareness is the first step to change. You see, most people live unconscious lives. They wake up and follow the same routine without thinking. They react to the same problems without learning. They make the same choices and wonder why the results never change. But when you reflect, you wake up, you become aware of what's really going on. And that's where the power is. Awareness leads to choice, and choice leads to change. Let me give you an example. Let's say someone has a goal, get in better shape, they go to the gym. They eat a little better. They try for a few weeks, but then life gets busy, old habits creep back in. Now without reflection, they just drift back to default. No insight, no adjustment. But with reflection, they start asking, what triggered me to break the habit? What can I do next time? What's working and what's not? And suddenly, they're not just trying, they're learning. And that's the hidden advantage. Most people keep trying. Few people keep learning. Trying without learning leads to burnout. But trying while learning leads to growth. You become smarter, wiser, sharper. You start to anticipate your own weaknesses. You start to catch your patterns in real time. You start to create systems that support your goals. Now let me tell you what else most people miss. They think reflection is about judgment. It's not. It's about curiosity. Not, why am I such a failure? But, why did that happen? What can I take from it? Reflection isn't about beating yourself up. It's about building yourself up by learning the lesson and doing better next time. That's maturity. That's leadership. That's personal power. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When you reflect, you're working on you. And here's the truth, the marketplace rewards value. And the more aware you are, the more value you can create for yourself, your family, your business, your future. Now let me warn you, most people will never do this. Because reflection feels unproductive. It doesn't come with instant applause. You don't get likes and shares and attention for sitting quietly with your thoughts. But I'll tell you what you do get. You get clarity. You get wisdom. You get strength on the inside. That's the hidden advantage. While the world is chasing shiny objects, you're building a foundation. While others are chasing hacks, you're becoming wise. And wisdom multiplies everything you touch. Now here's another piece most people miss. Reflection is not just about learning from your own life. It's also learning from the lives of others. If you read a book, reflect on it. If you hear a great idea, pause and ask, how can I apply this? That's how you turn knowledge into power. Because what you reflect on, you retain, and what you retain, you can apply. That's what gives you the edge. Miss a meal, but don't miss your personal development. When reflection, that's part of your personal development diet. Don't miss it. Now let me close this part with a question. Are you willing to do what most people won't, to have what most people never will? If the answer is yes, then build this quiet habit. Embrace this hidden advantage. And let it guide you to levels of clarity, focus, and results you've never had before. Because what you build in the quiet will speak loud for you later. Now let me tell you something. We've talked about reflection. We've talked about awareness. We've talked about clarity and the hidden advantages. But here's the next question. How do you make it stick? How do you turn learning into lasting growth? Because listen, it's not what you know that changes your life. It's what you apply. And that's the challenge for most people. They hear a good idea. They read a great quote. They attend a powerful seminar. And they say, wow, that's amazing. But then what? Back to the same routine. Back to the same day. Back to the same results. Why? Because they didn't do anything with it. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. That's how you make it stick. Now let me walk you through 3 simple steps. They're not complicated, but if you do them, they'll change everything. Step 1, team capture the lesson. The first thing you've got to do is write it down. You can't rely on memory. Memory fades. But the faintest ink is better than the best memory. When you reflect, capture it. If you had a breakthrough, a realization, an insight, write it. You don't need a fancy journal. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need consistency. A sentence a day is better than a book you never start. Because over time, those notes become your personal manual for success. They become proof of your progress. They remind you who you're becoming. They help you see how far you've come. And there's power in that. Step 1 on identify the action. Learning is only useful if it leads to action. So the second thing you must do every time you reflect is ask, what's one thing I can do with this? Not 10 things. Not everything. Just one. That's how you make it stick. You tie the lesson to behavior. You say, tomorrow I'll wake up 30 minutes earlier. Next time I'll respond instead of react. From now on, I'll prepare before I speak. Simple. Specific. Actionable. That's how you build change. Brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. And over time, you look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. That's the power of reflection plus action. Step 3, thy review and repeat. Now this one, most people skip, but not you. You want to 10x your results. Then don't just learn, relearn. Go back to your notes every week, every month. Revisit the lessons. Why? Because repetition is the mother of skill. And most people fail not because they didn't learn, but because they forgot what they learned. Don't let that happen to you. You've got to keep the fire lit. You've got to remind yourself why you started. You've got to anchor the lesson. So it goes from your head to your heart to your hands. That's when you know it's sticking. Not when you can quote it, but when you live it. Now let me tell you what I've seen in my life. I've met brilliant people, talented people, capable people, but their lives don't change. Why? Because they collect ideas, but never connect with them. They're interested, but not committed. And I'll tell you this. If you don't plan your life, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they've planned for you? Not much. So start planning. Start applying. Start repeating. That's how you make it stick. Now, here's a little practice you can start tonight. At the end of your day, ask 3 simple questions. What did I learn today? What will I do differently tomorrow? What will I remember for the rest of my life? You do that for a week. You'll feel more focused. You do it for a month. You'll feel more powerful. You do it for a year, and you'll be unrecognizable from who you are today. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. So let me encourage you, don't just be a collector of quotes. Be a builder of habits. Don't just admire discipline in others. Develop it in yourself. Because the one who reflects learns. The one who learns acts. And the one who acts consistently wins. Every time. Let me tell you something that changed my life. It doesn't take a lifetime to change your life. It just takes a decision followed by discipline. You see, some people think transformation takes years, but that's not true. Days are expensive. When you spend a day, you have one less day to spend. So make sure you spend each one wisely. When you commit to reflecting, adjusting, and growing every single day, you start seeing results faster than you ever imagined. I remember years ago I met a young man, bright, full of potential. But his life was in a mess. He said, "Jim, I want more out of life, but I'm stuck. I don't know where to start." And I told him something simple. Something that I'm telling you right now. Start by paying attention, not to the noise, not to the distractions, but to yourself, to your thoughts, to your choices, to your habits. Because your life is a mirror. It reflects who you are becoming. I told him, every evening, sit down with yourself. Reflect on the day. What did you do right? What could you do better? What do you need to remember? He didn't need a new job. He didn't need a new environment. He needed a new rhythm. And in 30 days, that man was different. He walked differently, spoke differently. He started making better decisions, building better habits, attracting better people. That's transformation. And it doesn't take years. It takes intentional days. Now let me break this down for you. Every time you reflect, you remind yourself who you are. Not who the world says you are. Not who you were in the past, but who you're choosing to become. Don't major in minor things. Don't spend your life chasing what doesn't matter. Reflection helps you stay focused on the major things. And when you do it daily, something incredible happens. You build identity. You go from a person who reacts to a person who responds. From someone who forgets to someone who remembers. From someone who wanders to someone who walks with purpose. You no longer live by accident. You live by design. Now let me share this truth. Success is not one giant leap. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime moment. It's a series of daily disciplines. Small things done well, repeatedly. And reflection is that small thing. The one habit that amplifies all others. Because when you reflect, you learn faster. When you learn faster, you adjust quicker. When you adjust quicker, you succeed sooner. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals. You don't need to work 24 hours a day. You don't need to burn out or chase every opportunity. You just need to pause, reflect, and realign. Every day. And that shortens the time between where you are and where you want to be. Now here's something important. Transformation doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it looks like getting up 30 minutes earlier. Sometimes it looks like saying no to something good for something better. Sometimes it looks like asking, "What did I learn today?" before you go to sleep. It's not glamorous. It's not flashy. It's not posted all over social media. But it's real. And real growth is often quiet. Because when you become a person of reflection, you don't need to prove anything. Your results will speak for themselves. You'll walk differently. You'll think more clearly. You'll speak with confidence. Not because you're lucky, but because you've built it. Day by day, habit by habit. Now let me wrap this up with a challenge. You want to become the best version of yourself. Don't wait. Don't wait for January. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start today. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I learn? What did I do well? What will I improve? And do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. Because here's the secret, you're only one decision away from a totally different life, not someday. Today, the decision to reflect, to pay attention, to act on your own wisdom. And that changes everything. The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. Reflection helps you become that person. So if you've been drifting, now's your moment to decide. If you've been doubting, now's your moment to trust the process. If you've been delaying, now's your moment to move. Because success is not out there. It's already inside you, waiting for you to notice it. And when you do, a new you will emerge. Not in 10 years, not in 5, but sooner than you think. Why? Because you started doing the one thing that multiplies everything. Reflection. That's the habit. That's the multiplier. That's the secret. And now you know it, so go build the life you deserve. Remember, the smallest habit can lead to the biggest change. Reflection is that habit. Practice it daily, and watch your life transform faster, stronger, better.